Hi everyone, thanks for coming to my watercolor beach tutorial video today. If you're new here, my name is Emily Winslow and I love sharing the joy of watercolor with others. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a simple beach with watercolor. If you're new to watercolor and have never used it before or need a little bit of a refresher, go check out my previous video on an intro to watercolor where I show you the basics of even just mixing colors, how to use your brush with the water. That will really bring you up to speed and help you throughout this tutorial. Let's go ahead and grab our brushes and get started. Alright, let's go ahead and go over what we're going to be using today. So I have my palette here with my tube paint already on it, and I grabbed these Master Touch tubes from Hobby Lobby, but you can use whatever watercolor brand you have. And this Praying Oval 16 kit is also a great starter. You can grab this on Amazon, and I have it linked in my description. And then for my brushes, I've got two that I'm going to be using today, a size 12 and a size 8 brush. Again, they're Master Touch brand. You can grab them from Hobby Lobby or use whatever brand you like the best. I have some also linked in my description. So the first thing we're going to want to do is tape down our paper. You can get any painter's tape from Lowe's or Amazon. Basically, we want it to tape it down so that it gives us a nice straight line when we tear it off. Alright, so let's get to sketching. This is a very simple beach scene that I think anyone can do. So we're going to start out by sketching out this skyline, which I usually like to have a little bit towards the middle or maybe a little bit above. And then we're going to sketch out where we want our waves to be. So I want it to be in a nice diagonal, so the sand is over here and it looks like we're walking along the beach line. So I'm just going to take my pencil and start at the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect with your waves. You can just kind of sketch out where you think you might be painting, and we want to make sure we're doing this really lightly. We don't want our pencil lines to show too much through our paint. I usually don't have to end up erasing them when I go lightly over, but if you need to, you can also go in with an eraser after you're done painting. And then we're going to do a little bit of land in the back here. So we're just going to, of where I want the tree line to be, I'm going to stop about halfway through. You can make it all the way across if you want, or you can completely omit this tree line if you want. Totally up to you. Okay, now that we have our sketch done, we're going to go ahead and begin painting. And what I'm going to be doing is the wet on wet technique. Basically, we're going to take our brush and dip it in the water. And I'm just going to go all the way across the sky with only my water. I want the sky to be really light, so I'm going to be using my white quite a bit in this painting. And I'm going to use the blue towards the top, maybe a little bit of black. So let's go ahead and put the blue all the way across the top of the painting and drag it down. I'm going to add a little bit of more blue up in the top corners. See how when we're doing wet on wet technique, it really blends well with us without having to work too hard on that. Okay, and I really love when beach skies have a bit of pink in it. So I'm going to be using my peach colors, and we're going to put that throughout the bottom here. Maybe some clouds up in the sky, and then I'm going to wash out the tone a little bit, so add a little bit more water to lighten it up and put that towards the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and darken up the top a little bit more with the blue. And you can be creative with, how dark you want your sky to be. I usually tend to stick with lighter paintings. And I think it'd be really pretty if we add a tad bit of red in there. Gives it kind of those cloud effects if we tap it in here. Again, if your paper dried out a little bit, you can always just add more water before you add the paint to let you give it that wet on wet technique. The thing with watercolor is sometimes it can dry pretty quickly, and that's okay. We just add more water. Okay, I think I'm happy with my sky now. So I'm gonna move on to the water. I'm gonna want a bit of a teal in the back here, and then I wanted to get lighter as we go towards the shore to almost like a tan color where you see it mixing with the sand. So let's first start with the back here. I'm going to have some blue and then a tad bit of green. So I'm going to go ahead and go over. Notice I'm not using the wet on wet technique right now. I'm just putting it straight onto the paper. And that's because I just really want to control where the lines fall a little bit better right now. And see, when we add more water to the paint, I'm not adding more paint, I'm just dipping my brush in the water to dilute the color a bit as we go towards the front here. Okay, now I'm going to add a bit more color. So I'm going to go darken up the back a bit here just to add in those waves. So let's go towards the skyline here, or the horizon line. And then I'm just going to dot a bit because I'm not being too exact with these waves, but we're going to just dot where we want. You can just put paint wherever you want here. And remember, with watercolor, you do not have to be perfect. It took me a long time to realize that. I used to get really frustrated when I painted with watercolor. I still do. I still get frustrated because sometimes it just goes where you don't want it to go, and paintings just sometimes don't turn out how you want them to, and that's okay. Just got to keep going. I'd encourage you to finish out a painting even if you don't think you like where it's going. Usually it ends up great, and you'll be happy in the end. Okay, I'm going to start adding a bit of brown in here because I want to grab a tan color, maybe a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to start putting this up towards the front of the waves here, where we're still in the water, but this is where you're starting to see the sand through the waves. I recently just went on a trip to Punta Cana, so this is really getting me in the mood to go on another beach trip. Let me know in the comments what your favorite beach is. I really just love anywhere where the water looks really teal. Okay, now I want to get kind of like a purplish color, so I'm going to have blue, red, blue and red. Yes, I always like that. Takes me back to elementary school when you're remembering what those primary colors, which primary colors you need to make certain colors. So I didn't go to art school, by the way. I'm a self-taught artist, and I kind of have to remind myself of the basics. So you're learning right along with me. All right, so I'm dabbing this like purple color right beneath the waves, and that adds a little bit of a shadow to it to give it more like a 3D look, if you see what I mean. So I'm going to darken that up again, get that purple color, go in with more. I really love the part of adding shadows to paintings because I feel like that's when your paintings really start to come alive, is when you add those three-dimensional elements. And I think that's really what gets me out of I know every painting has its ugly stage, and it can be hard for me to get through it, like I said before, but you just got to keep pushing through it. And I think for me, what really gets paintings out of that ugly stage are the shadows. So just bear with me here. All right. We're gonna add some more right on top of this wave at the shore. Okay, we are gonna leave that how it is, but I'm probably going to revisit that at the end of the painting here. Right now, we're gonna focus on the actual beach part. So we're gonna make a brownish tan color with our brown and yellow and actually a bit of blue here. You know, it always sounds weird to put blue when you're wanting to mix a color that's more brownish, but I put blue in because I want more of a cooler shade here. So let's go ahead and go all over the sand area. I'm gonna add some water here, tone it down. Go all in. It really helps when you get your brush wet to go over and blend whatever paint you have on the paper. Okay, now that we have the area covered, I'm gonna go darken up some spots. So I'm going to take our brown again and blue, and I'm gonna go all over the bottom. Really get the bottom. I love going around the edges with darker paint because then when we take the tape off, it just looks really cool when the edges are really dark. I don't know. I love how it looks whenever I take the paint or the painter's tape off. Okay, and we're gonna again spread that out. Okay. So I have more of a little bit of an orangey tone, and you can leave it like that, but actually, again, want to go in with some more blue, maybe even a little bit of black here. I just really want it to be more of a cool tone. Okay. I'm going to go back in here. That's better. And then I'm going to go right under the wave here to, again, give it that 3D look. And here's where I'm actually going to switch out to my smaller brush. I want it to be a little bit of a sharper line. So notice how I can make the line a little bit thinner with the smaller brush. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks. Okay, I like how this looks now. I'm just gonna go in and clean up the waves a little bit more. So let's go in with our darker color that we have already mixed for the sand. And again, I'm just gonna add in more lines, and really it doesn't matter too much where you go. The ocean is chaotic, so your painting can also be chaotic. I just want to give some texture for when you see the light hit the ocean, it has those like shapes on it. I don't know how to describe it. I'm trying to make those with my paintbrush though. So I'm just being very, honestly, chaotic with my brush and just dabbing at it. You know, you don't need to be too particular with the lines here. Okay, I want a bit of a darker color again, getting my purple back. And again, you want to make sure you go under each wave with the darker color. I'd love if you guys do this tutorial, try it out, and I'd love if you sent me the photo on Instagram or through my website, or just tag me in it if you do post it. I'd love to see your recreation of this. It's so fun to help others through painting watercolor. This is a way that I relax after my day of work, and I really want to help others find a passion in creating too. I'm going to add a little bit more shadow here. All right, I think I am happy with how the water looks. I'm going to go ahead and do the tree line in the back. So I'm going to grab some green, maybe brown and red. That's a little too much red. Honestly, I don't really have a proportion of colors. I mix them until I like how they look. And I always go for more muted colors, so adding white really helps to tone them down. This is more of a little bit of a brown, but I'm going to go for it here. Maybe add in some green after. Okay, I'm just going to go over area with this color. I'm going to go in with some darker colors, add in those shadows. So I'm going to add some right at the baseline. And since the paint is wet, it's blending really well. So I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, we're almost done here. The last thing I want to do is, we avoided these waves. So I'm going to go ahead and take a really light color, so white, and I'm going to mix that with a bit of yellow, maybe a little bit of pink or red. And I'm just going to go over that area with this color. Okay. And once you have those white areas covered, you can take a bit of like a light purple, and then I'm going to go towards the back side of this wave with that purple. And I'm adding just a bit more. Decided I didn't really like this part over here, so I'm going to add a bit more color and texture. And I am happy with how the waves look. So you can just keep going at it for any corrections that you want to do. I mean, sometimes I can always keep going at it, and at some point I just need to pick a time to stop with paintings, because especially with watercolor, there does come a point where you can overwork your painting. I think watercolor can tend to be a little bit harder, where you don't want to keep layering over everything, whereas you can do that with acrylic or oil. But that's why I love watercolor. It has such like a light, clean look to it at the end, that, I don't know, it just gives it such a peaceful look. So I really hope you enjoyed painting today with me. This is my favorite part, and this is where we tear off the tape so we can reveal our nice clean lines. And here we go. I hope you all learned something from this video and walked away with a beautiful beach painting. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments below, and like and subscribe. As always, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Watercolor with Emily. Have a great day, everyone.